Hello, everyone. Welcome in to episode 3 of the AshBros Gaming Podcast. Some of you will know me from my alter ego, that is Brommer18 on YouTube, but you can just call me Ash. And with me is my good pal and co-host, who is also named Ash. Hello, mate.
Hello, Ash.
How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, mate. How are you?
Yeah, buzzing. We're looking forward to doing another episode, aren't we?
We are. We've loved the previous two, and we're just ready to get another one underway. 100%.
This is the first episode that we are recording since the podcast has gone live. So we've had a little bit of feedback, haven't we?
Yeah, and I just wanted to say thank you for everyone for your feedback. Anything, any contribution.
Yep.
Like we've said before many times, how we just want to make this the best it can possibly be. We're both super passionate about making this a great listen.
We certainly are.
So yeah, any suggestions, throw them our way.
Yeah, and we have to say, like, we've been really pleased with the feedback, haven't we? Like, everyone's been very positive about it. There's been no one saying you're clowns, this is terrible, which is always good.
Always reassuring, yeah.
Yeah. And so, we want to just say, like, keep any of that feedback coming, whether it is constructive or it is positive. Make sure, if you are listening on any of your regular podcasting apps, that's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, whatever it may be, to give us a rating and a review, because that really helps us. That's what's going to boost us up the charts, so to speak, and get more people listening in. If you're listening to the video version on YouTube, then just drop a like. Drop a like on the video. That will be great. So we've got some really good topics coming up for you today. But before we do get into it, I just want to quickly say, remember, you can find us on Twitter. That would be the AshBros Podcast at handle, AshBros Podcast on Twitter. And you can also drop us an email on Gmail, ashbrospodcast@gmail.com, if you want to get in touch or anything. We've been asking for your feedback ahead for this show. And we've got some bits and pieces to fill in. So thank you for feeding back to us. And yeah, we're really excited for the topics today. So back to it, what do we have in store for you? Well, first things first, we are going to be giving our initial kind of review of FIFA 23. The game has been out for, around a month now as of recording this. And so, we really want to get into that a little bit. We've been asking for your guys' thoughts as well, so we'll get to that. And on top of that, we're also going to talk about Football Manager, soon to be released. As we're recording this, it isn't out yet. The beta isn't out yet, but when you are listening to this, it may be out at some point. So that's something we're really excited for. We want to sort of talk about our thoughts and sort of kind of preview going into that game, which we're really excited for. We're also going to look at some of the feedback that you guys have been giving us. Some people got us talking about their top 5 favourite games from episode 1. If you haven't listened to that, do go and check that one out. Really, really fun episode that we did enjoy. And we're also going to talk about what we're playing as well towards the end of the episode. So there's a whole lot to get into today. Are you ready for this, my friend?
Let's get stuck in.
So, first things first, FIFA 23. We've got
FIFA 23.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a little bit to say about this. What I will say is, it's kind of works out well because, as we spoke about in the last episode, you have been playing it on the previous gen of consoles, haven't you?
Yep, the Xbox One, not the Xbox Series X.
Yeah. Whereas I've been playing it on the Series X, and they're quite different games. So I think we can cover both bases here, and get a good kind of feel for the game. So I'm just going to put this over to you first of all. Initial thoughts after it's been out for a few weeks now. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are generally positive, honestly. The gameplay definitely is an improvement, 100%. There's, I mean, I've dabbled a tiny bit in Ultimate Team. Mostly, it's onto career mode. I must say, I like the set piece changes. The FIFA. I think the old FIFA, the way of doing it was terrible, and I think this is a big improvement. Free kicks is brilliant. I love how you can select where you kick it, where on the ball you obviously you kick it, so that you can choose like a knuckleball or like like a curved or whatever. Same with corners as well. Like, a really big fan of that.
Yep.
So yeah, it's like it's definitely positive on my end for sure. How about yourself?
Yeah, kind of alluded to it last week because we mentioned I'd been playing this in the what are we playing section. It's been okay. It has been okay for me as well. I'm not going on dreading it, which is a nice
Mm,
change because every year for the last few years, when I've obviously been recording YouTube videos for it, it's been a chore. It's been a chore. I've not enjoyed it. Not enjoyed it at all. So this year, I'm enjoying it a little bit more. Um, I think the gameplay as a whole is a little bit slower. The dribbling, the animations are all a little bit slower, and I'm personally a fan of that.
no,
Now,
definitely, yeah.
I
Big
think I,
fan.
I think we both kind of prefer realism, don't we? Like,
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
yeah, that's what we look for in these kind of football games, simulation game as it's supposed to be. It's supposed to simulate real life,
Yeah.
um, and it needs to slow down. It needs to be less arcadey to be more realistic.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, there are a lot of the pro players, plenty of Ultimate Team players who just want it fast. They want it
Mm,
1,000 miles an hour. Um, but I disagree with that. So I personally like the changes that they're making. It's still too fast for me. What I will say is I've been using sliders. Anyone who obviously follows my YouTube will know about that. Without sliders, I wouldn't be able to tolerate it as much. But with sliders, you can obviously slow the game down a little bit, just add a little bit of realism to it, and it makes it more tolerable. So overall, yeah, the gameplay not bad.
mm.
Still a lot to improve on, but compared to previous years, I am preferring it. Talk about what you said, like the set pieces. Definitely agree with you. I'll say one thing. I don't know if you've had many penalties yet, um, but
Yeah, I've had a
they're
few.
extremely hard to not get right. That I
Yeah,
found.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Y-
yeah. I mean, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, like it, I always seem to time them perfectly, which is really weird. It makes you wonder whether it's a little bit broken. And also, if the goalkeeper goes the right way, he always saves it, even if it's like directly in the corner,
Really?
which is what I've
Okay.
noticed. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed that.
To be fair, I've noticed kind of it's obviously dependent on how much power you put on it, right? But I completely agree with you. It is super easy to press it with the circle being as small as possible. That is a super easy mechanic. Um, but no, for me, every time it's been in the middle, um, it's sort of just been a great finish. I haven't had many saves, to be fair.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that you're saying that actually.
Yeah, it's something I've definitely noticed. Like I've had a couple of penalty shootouts on the channel
Oh,
already,
really?
and every time the goalkeeper gets it the right way, it's a save. Like even then, it's
Mm,
directly in the corner. So that's something they'll have to patch out.
yeah, I get you saying.
Um, Defending, we've got to talk about this. It is still a nightmare, and I don't think this is something that they're ever going to change. I really don't. I think people just love goals, or EA
Mm,
love goals. I think I don't know his name now. It's Sam someone. He's like one of the lead producers on
okay.
FIFA at EA, and they kind of questioned him on it. Someone's questioned him on it. I need to find the article now. Really annoying. I didn't do this before the podcast. And he said like, oh, if defenders marked properly and stuff, it'd be hard to score and it'd be boring. And what? Seriously?
Yeah, that's a ridiculous
That's
thing to
your
say.
mentality? No,
Mm.
that's terrible. Like that mentality is why a lot of people are so frustrated with this game because you cannot. It is not fun to keep conceding goals. It's more frustrating, and it also means like put it this way, like in PES, for example, something that me and you have played plenty of times.
Yep.
Um, it feels more satisfying to score a goal,
Yeah. Yeah.
doesn't it?
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
And part of that is because you score less. There are less goals in PES because it is more realistic. And so when you score in FIFA, it doesn't touch the sides. Do you know what I mean?
And I like when it's complete end to end, and I score one, you score one, I score one, you score one. It's like that's not enjoyable. That's not exciting. That's just like
No.
this is getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
I much prefer to have a hard fought battle in midfield, defending, last man backs, like, clears it
Yeah.
off the line and have a 1-0 win. I think that's much more satisfying than having like a stupid 8-7 win where
Yeah.
like you're both just running up the pitch and scoring like after kickoff. I just think that's stupid.
Well, you've hit the nail on the head there with, I would much prefer or rather, a scrappy 1-0 win, hard fought. I don't want to win 5-4 every game. I
It's
really don't.
ridiculous and it's not realistic.
So, no, not at all. Not at all. So, yeah, they've got to do something about this. Like, midfielders still don't track back, players still not marking, just gaps forming. That's something that is still a major issue. Even with sliders, they could only affect so much. And so,
And
defending.
the opponent's AI as well, even on like the hardest difficulties, can be just ridiculous,
So,
can't it?
this is something someone actually gave us some feedback on. So, we'll probably talk in more detail about this shortly.
Yeah.
But yes, the difficulties is also a massive issue. As you go with the difficulties, it doesn't get more realistic. They just play like gods,
Yeah.
which is just it's too much.
Yeah.
It needs to be kind of refined. I remember a few years ago I actually was playing Ultimate on career mode, and now I'm playing World Class because World Class they play more realistically, and I just have to alter the sliders and the gameplay settings, starting to play on manual now to make it more difficult. It's
Mm.
ridiculous that when you're going up to Ultimate, all of a sudden it's like ping pong, ping pong, ping pong, ping pong, score from any distance. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, literally, yeah.
So I mean, we kind of come into this saying it's actually okay, and we spent a lot of time complaining about it, really. But like it there are still good things, like you say. The set pieces are generally better. The slower dribbling animations definitely better. Most of the tactics and player instructions, obviously, that's a big thing on my YouTube channel, working better compared to previous years where you set an instruction, it doesn't work. So
What would you say about the this new star player feature where specific players play better than their teammates because they've got that special little,
yes, so that's something I actually have turned on. I
Yeah.
don't know if you use that.
I haven't turned it on actually. I probably should do. I just haven't thought to.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah, I remember watching one of your live streams and that was quite good. Although on a team with players like Lewandowski and Rafinha and Dembele, the only player who had it was Quadrado, which I found a bit odd.
I'm so glad you picked up on that because I noticed that watching the stream back when I was doing the chapters and stuff and
Yeah.
processing it, and I thought it's a bit strange.
Literally, I was just like, what is going on there? All right, sure.
It's I mean that's a typical EA glitchy
Yeah,
nonsense,
I
isn't
know.
it? Like
Ridiculous.
generally though, see that's also the first time I've seen it where it's not on an attacker. Usually it
Yeah.
will be on, say, like a striker and a winger, or an attack
Yeah.
midfielder and a winger.
Mm.
Because it's usually supposed to be like just your top rated players, basically, just the highest couple are rated.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was weird. That was weird.
Yeah, that was interesting to see.
Yeah, but yeah, generally,
But it's a good addition, and you can kind of excuse it having problems if it's the first FIFA they've introduced it, I guess. And at least they're trying to add
they
in
had
things.
it last year.
Did they have it last year?
Yeah.
Then there's no excuse. I did not see it
yeah.
last year.
Yeah, so in terms of the gameplay, not terrible, not good, tolerable, I think is probably the right word.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think about the added cutscenes as well?
Yeah, so let's talk about that because I wanted to go into like career mode next. We're not going to talk about Ultimate Team
No,
because I
it's
don't
banned.
acknowledge its existence.
Yeah.
So Manager career mode didn't have many additions. That was one of the few. Now, cutscenes themselves, I'm a big fan of. I want them in the game. I want it's more immersive. It just fleshes it out, adds more meat to the bone. big fan. What I would say is quite repetitive.
Oh, 100%, mate. Oh my days.
That's what you found.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you watch for how it works. I'd assume for like 90% of people, they watch the first one. They're like, "Oh, this is cool." They make their second transfer and they're skipping it,
Yeah,
and then you never watch it again.
yeah,
Like, I just think it's a nice idea, but you've either got to make it like scarce, so it's only like 90 plus players, or like a player that's really above the rating of your average team that you have the cutscene for, so like big signings,
yeah,
or um, or it's like you make it slightly different each time. It's because it's literally the same. It's just a reskin of the same cutscene every time.
yeah,
That's really stale. You already know it's not going to be. It's not a mystery. You already know who you've signed.
yeah.
So it's really, really not useful at all.
And the thing is that so we kind of did get this a couple of years ago when they introduced it in the transfers, like when you're negotiating a transfer
Yeah, yeah.
and you get that. But they are still the same now from what they were like
Mm,
when they came in 2-3 years ago.
yeah.
So like it makes me wonder whether these cutscenes
They're
that
just
have been
gonna.
newly introduced to this year are gonna be the same for the next couple of years.
Oh, yeah, probably. Just yeah.
But yeah, so like I definitely like them as the addition. I think they could have added a few more, really,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, so yeah, that's okay. Not many other additions. In
No.
terms of manager career mode, we'll talk about player career mode shortly. I don't know if you've played that. Um, but the transfer analyst. We need to talk about the transfer analyst.
Okay, go on.
Oh, so I did a stream when they first kind of did the deep dive on career mode and announced all the new features,
Yeah.
all being in quotation marks. Um, and I went in deep on this transfer analyst. I think the largest section of that stream was me talking about this because I was like pretty much ranting about it.
Yeah.
This is the most pointless feature I think that has
Oh
ever
yeah,
been
yeah.
added,
Yeah.
and it is not only that, it's broken. It does not work. I'm fed up of getting F ratings for transfers that are good. So, for example, I recently bought Tammy Abraham in my Chelsea series on the channel, and
Mm.
I bought him for the buyback clause that in real life is nailed on. I think it was might be like 58 or 60 million. Bear in mind, they sold him for 40 plus, so they're not paying massively over the odds if they bought him back for 60 million.
Yep.
Really good signing, my top rated striker, and I got an F for it.
Of course, yeah.
And do you know what I mean? Like, why do we have this feature? It's so pointless. I cannot believe. And the reason why it gets our backup is because usually you'd think, oh, it's just minor, get over it. It's because they've spent time implementing this when they could have been spending time and resources implementing something that we needed.
Literally, yeah.
Like, what have you come across? Like, have you found it to be annoying, hindrance?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a yeah, an annoyance in it. You just sign someone, and I'm just like, oh well, I didn't ask for for your opinion, to be honest, and you're wrong, so I'm just gonna skip past that. It's just another like thing to skip past for me,
Yeah,
to be
it
honest.
is.
Like, you've got all these cutscenes to skip. Like, I do like the during negotiations cutscenes, but even then, those are a bit jading, to be honest.
Yeah,
Um, And then, so you get through those, then you've got him walking into a building. I'm like, oh, come on, skip. And then you've got, some random geezer just saying, oh, I ate your transfer, mate. You bought, Lionel Messi for £1. No, I'm not having that. Terrible. I'm just like, did I ask? I'm, I'm perfectly capable of making my transfers, thank you. So, yeah, and as you say, there's the opportunity cost us something else, isn't there?
yeah.
Like, they could be doing so much, more with their time, and yeah, it's pretty jading, but there you go. You just gotta try and laugh off, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're trying. Um, so there's that, and there's the fact that they removed the transfer budget, wage budget toggle. And if you noticed that,
I didn't
that was
notice
another
that, but
thing.
that's just another one where it's like, why?
Why have you done that? Like you've taken the time to remove a feature. People aren't happy about it. It doesn't make sense because then you can't budget properly. As a
Yeah.
result, it'll just show you the maximum of both: maximum wage, maximum transfer budget.
Mm.
So yeah, another thing they've spent time doing instead of something useful that people are asking for.
It's not even adding something; it's removing something.
Yeah, yeah. Do you know what I mean? You
Making the
spent time
game
removing
worse.
exactly.
Oh God, yeah.
So yeah, and with manager career mode, a lot of bugs, a lot of bugs. There's still the sharpness bug where it shows the -1 sharpness in games. No one knows if it's visual or actually having an effect on players. You got issues with the training. Still, oh please, just add a load previous session training button. That's all I ask. That's all I
Mm.
ask. This problem they've added this in and they've not. They'll just leave it. They'll leave features. You know what I mean? They'll add them in and just
Yeah,
not
100%.
fine tune them.
Yeah, just exactly. Yeah, just dump them. Like
Yeah,
they add it in for a fancy tagline for their game. Like, oh, this is what we're adding for this game,
yeah. For the
and
press
then
release, for the
yeah,
marketing.
exactly. And then they just like leave it there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
So
man.
that yeah. Overall, though, career mode isn't. I'm half enjoying it as I'm half enjoying
Yeah,
the.
yeah. As we're ranting this much, but it
Yeah,
is
yeah.
actually enjoyable. But there's just so many issues with that game as a whole. It's just like,
I mean,
uh,
you'll notice the difference of how we talk about Football Manager a bit later on compared to how we talk about FIFA,
yeah,
like in terms of positivity and all that stuff. Um, and that really tells you everything you need to know.
pretty much.
So yeah, there's that player career mode is a bit better. That don't have you delved much into player career mode?
No, not yet. No, I did last
So
year, but
yeah, so that's the one that's actually had a lot of the changes this year. A lot of improvements. Definitely a big step in the right direction. It's good because player career mode for many years was just left alone. It just stagnated. It was awful. It was a horrendous experience. And this year they've put a little bit into it, and it's a better experience. You know, now you have obviously you have the cutscenes, and then you have decisions that you can make, such as greeting your teammates or doing interviews and stuff, and they impact your player archetype, which in as a result will impact your kind of stats and your attributes. You have investments that you can make now that you're earning a wage. You can spend that wage on different things. Maybe you want to go and buy a sports card. You want to make investments into an esports team. All sorts of good stuff. So that's certainly progressing. Um,
oh
Obviously,
wow, yeah,
it's still at a basic stage. Like there's a lot more that there's a lot of directions this can go. There's a lot more that can be done. They can be heavily developed. They're still very basic features, but definitely as a foundation, as a starting block, good.
yeah. No, I mean that sounds really good. I mean, I've got to give that a go after you saying that. To be honest.
Yeah, and I think you'll enjoy
Yeah.
it. Obviously, if you've delved into player career mode and stuff, I think you'll be over that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think is there anything else that we need to discuss. I've not
Um.
actually played Pro Clubs yet, so I can't review that, but it didn't get much love.
mm,
How about you? Do you want to talk about Ultimate Team? I mean, I've not obviously
Ultimate
I don't.
Team. No, not really. I mean, all I would say is there's just exploits as always. Like the power shots, people are just like spamming. Just to kind of uh, not what's the word? Not balanced. And they're a bit too overpowered,
Yep.
and people are just whipping in corners in like and scoring a goal with them, because of the new set pieces. But
Yeah.
like you say, mate, Ultimate Team, you're always gonna have sweats who are gonna, find out ways to exploit features. So
Yeah.
it doesn't bother me that much. Um, but no, like, yeah, yeah, overall good, positive, definitely.
What I
Definitely.
will say is, with regards to Ultimate Team, I may actually play it when the World Cup mode comes out. You know, they have that cool World Cup when the World Cup like
Yeah,
DLC comes
yeah,
out. They
yeah,
do the
yeah.
cool Ultimate Team one, don't they? Where there's no auction house. It's just kind of you get the players out of the packs.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I remember you liking that one as well because I remember
I
us
loved
in
it.
the 2014 one in Brazil. We kind of banged that out.
I loved it, yeah. That was
Um,
brilliant.
so I may dabble into that, but obviously, yeah, regular Ultimate Team. Not never. I haven't touched it for years. Years. Can't
Uh,
remember the last time I touched it.
I
Um,
mean, yeah, they just keep adding more and more different types of cards to earn money, innit?
yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, this is
With
one of the
just
many,
no
many reasons I don't play it. Too many cards.
too many cards, yeah, amongst other things.
Yes, amongst
Many,
a lot of
many
other
other
things.
things. Yeah.
So let's talk about what you guys think about it. We put something out on Twitter, which remember you can follow us at AshBros Podcast, asking for your kind of early thoughts. And we got a little bit back, and I think generally people are kind of agreeing with us. But let's have a quick look here. We had one from, and I'm probably going to butcher this name, but I'm going to have a good go at it anyway. It's Svetelik Tashtinsky.
Smashed
Tashtinsky.
it.
Svetelik Tashtinsky.
Smashed it, mate.
He'll have to let me know if I've I've butchered that or not. And he kind of agreed with us. This is something we spoke about earlier that I wanted to talk about. He said about how the difficulty levels are absurd. The higher you go, the less realistic it becomes. A great point. And he's actually doing the same as me, where he says, I played Ultimate on FIFA 22. Now I'm on World Class with semi-manual controls. And I am taking the same path. Definitely agree with you there. He also said, you know, I want to enjoy the game, not spend too much figuring out what works best and then changing it again after some time because of the fact that whenever they release a new patch, you're having to tweak with the sliders and stuff. So I completely get that. He also made a suggestion that you should have kind of a couple of different gameplay modes where, say, anyone who wants that fast Ultimate Team pro style arcade experience can choose that, or anyone who wants a real football simulation can kind of toggle a switch and switch to that realistic mode.
Yeah.
That's an interesting kind of thought. I don't know what it would be in terms of the work. Whether that's something they'd entertain. Probably not.
Yeah, and like I'm very pessimistic about EA's
Yeah.
approach to like actual fun things, but absolutely that would be just so good. So because sometimes you're with your mate, whatever, maybe having a drink, whatever, and you just fancy like a really fun arcade experience. Like
Yeah, yeah.
sometimes there is a time and a place for that. To be
Yeah.
fair, but yeah, I'm definitely with you. In 90% of the time, I want to feel like I'm actually watching a football game and playing a football game. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, good
Uh,
suggestion.
we also have one from Francisco Ramos, who again kind of echoed our thoughts. He said, so far really enjoying the game, of course with sliders. Gameplay is better than FIFA 22, but it's not perfect. Still a lot to work on. The game modes are okay. Same as last year with cool little cutscenes, nothing else. Player career mode is a huge improvement, but gets stale. All around, gameplay did better, but career mode was a disappointment again. And I think that's really kind of echoing what we
Yeah,
were kind of thinking. Better, nowhere near perfect.
yeah, absolutely.
And he also talks about how player career mode, huge improvement, but does get stale. I've not gone past the first season in my player career mode yet, so I don't know with regards to how stale it does get, but I will take his word for it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll see about that. And then Posty McPosterson, a regular subscriber on the channel, says everyone knows about the bugs, which are appalling, but on the positive side, I have to say the gameplay is better and the tactics and instructions have definitely improved from FIFA 22. If they work out the dumb objectives, potential and sharpness bugs, it will be really good. So we did kind of just talk about that, how the tactics are working better. Player instructions are working, most of them. The man mark one for defensive midfielders still doesn't work because they don't have players marking. And he also mentions, and we've got to talk about this. He says playable highlights are a naughty word. I don't think we'll be explicit on this podcast.
No.
He said tried once, will never use again. Transfer analyst pointless and broken. Cutscenes after every incoming and outgoing transfer are already old and annoying. So that
yep.
If you want to put a too long didn't read on our podcast, probably that tweet
sums up pretty well.
I want to speak about the playable highlights. I don't know if you've seen this video on my channel or any of you listening have seen this video on my channel. I did a video about how playable highlights are broken, and I'm so glad I caught this like live because it was when I was filming for my Chelsea series. I do a playable highlights game, and I can't even explain what happened. You'd honestly have to watch the video. It was an absolute disaster. It was a mess, a complete mess. They have got to sort that because the feature itself, I think, is a really good idea. It allows you to get through career modes quicker if you want a more streamlined experience. It helps personally with me for when I'm like recording and stuff. If I want to try and get through the process a little bit quicker, some games I can just go playable highlights. But I can't do that when it is such a mess. I can't explain, honestly. I don't know if have they got this on old gen?
So I'm not sure. I'll have to check it out. I haven't seen it, but I'm not 100% sure. But I haven't seen your video on it either. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, you really should. Because, like I say, words do not do it justice. How messed up it is. It was an absolute disaster, a real disaster. And
so I'm guessing the idea is like a jumpers for goalpost style gameplay where it's like goes through the game. There's a chance you're subbed in for that chance. Is that right?
Precisely.
Yeah. Okay.
Very much like, I don't know if you ever played Madden franchise mode. They have something called Play the Moments in that, and it's very similar to that.
Yeah. Okay.
Which I'm guessing really is where they got the idea from.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Very good idea. Horrendous execution. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I gotcha.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's really our thoughts. I mean, we spent a lot of time ranting, despite the fact we said it's okay. I think when we say it's okay, we mean in FIFA terms.
Literally, yeah.
In the context of FIFA games, it's one of the better ones in recent years.
Because they've been doing us dirty for quite a while now.
Yeah, precisely. It's nice to be able to actually enjoy recording and playing. Because, otherwise I didn't know what I was going to do. I mean, I remember when I played the closed beta, that was an absolute mess. And when I did my review on the channel, I said, if the gameplay is like this when the game releases, I don't know what I'm going to do because I cannot play this game this year. I cannot bring myself to do it. And I genuinely was worried. I spent a couple of weeks thinking of like mulling it over because I was like, what the hell am I going to do on YouTube? Like, from now on. What's my content going to be? Because I can't play. So thankfully, it's not. They've recovered, from the beta, and it is okay.
It's tolerable.
Yeah. So, any final thoughts you want to talk about, mate, before we kind of move on? Anything you think might missed out?
That's everything off my chest. To be fair, I feel like a weight has just been lifted.
Yeah, so thanks to you guys for reaching out to us for the feedback. We really do appreciate that. As always, keep reaching out to us. Remember, you can find us on Twitter, on Gmail, and I forgot to mention, we've got a YouTube channel now. We've rebranded the Brommer Plays channel, my second channel, and it is now the AshBros podcast. We will be doing lots of clips from the podcast on there. We've already got one up about AEW Fight Forever, which we spoke about in the last episode. And we've got early plans, and I don't know if I should be talking about this yet, but I am going to now. We kind of just discussed before we came in here, didn't we, about us doing an online Football Manager 2023 save together, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, yeah.
and we're thinking of making that a series on that channel. So,
Let us know what you think about that idea.
yeah, we'd really appreciate that. I'm really excited for that. I want that to happen now because I think that could be a really, really good thing. Obviously
Yeah.
we've done plenty of saves before, haven't we? And to have that kind of added element of it being kind of going online, being recorded and stuff, people can kind of see just the banter.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. No, I think that'd be great.
Yeah, so do let us know about that. And with that being said, we want to talk about that. Football Manager
Speaking about Football
2023.
Manager 2023,
Yes,
yeah.
indeed. Coming
Yeah.
out, I mean, so we're recording this 19th of October, so a few days in advance. The beta is not out yet, but by the time you guys are listening to this, it probably will be. Now, people are speculating, it's been trending on Twitter all day. People are saying it's coming out tomorrow, the 20th of October. I don't know how true that is. I don't know where they get that from. It's usually a little bit later.
Mm.
But in that case, we could be in for a long a long weekend, don't you think?
Yeah, sounds like it. If that's
Yeah.
true, yeah. Oh my goodness.
So yeah, obviously we mentioned Football Manager last week in our most anticipated games episode. I think going into this, we're feeling really positive, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I was just saying that one of the main differences between FIFA and FM is that you feel it's almost like you feel the love that FM's developers have for the game rather
Yeah.
than FIFA, who are just looking to milk people of their money.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know?
you've stolen the words out of my mouth. I was going to say um, during this segment, I was going to say the difference between EA and FM, and the reason why I will pre-order Football Manager is because I've got a thing about I don't pre-order games, and one of the few games that I will pre-order is Football Manager because they have earned our trust, in my opinion. They
Oh
don't
yeah,
let us down.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and as you say, like Miles Jacobson, the creative director, like most of their team, if not all, they are players and fans of the game. They'll play in their own time. That's what you want.
Yeah,
So
literally.
yeah. So this is why we have much more positive outlook because the things are getting changed that we want changed, and things are getting improved and stuff. So kind of speaking on that, we are feeling positive about it, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking if Football Manager 2015 was still the most modern Football Manager game, I'd still be playing it today.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%. I could probably play Championship Manager 98 today.
Yeah.
It's like the games are just timeless, honestly, because it's not based on graphics. It's not based on I mean, gameplay a little bit. Obviously, you've got the simulation, which we'll talk about a bit later. But it's just so the core of that game of being about immersion. They've just seem to have nailed like early on, and now they're just like building on that like just amazing core with quality of life changes and just little tweaks here and there. And it's just it's every single game. You just know it's going to be a banger.
And yeah, so I want to talk about that a little bit because the game is already really good, isn't it?
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah.
when the game is already really good, you don't have these massive kind of things each year like, oh, this is a massive new feature, because you don't need to. Like you just need to make quality of life changes every year, just little like tweaks here and there, just minor new
And
features and stuff.
unlike EA, they're not going to like advertise some fancy feature just to get money.
Yeah.
If they're putting in a feature, it's going to be like they're going to work on it each year and they're going to improve it.
Well, it's like that with because obviously we know that they're going to bring the women's game into it. At some point, they're already working on it, but it could be next year. And he said in the past, like he said, we're going to lose a lot of money on it, but it's a really good feature. It's what we want to do, sort of thing. And that's that's golden, isn't it? Like it's not that kind of just money grabbing, relentless kind of
Yeah,
mentality.
Yeah.
But like just kind of building on that, like I speak to my cousin about this all the time, who probably listening to this podcast. So hello, Jonathan.
Yeah.
He's obviously he's a
Shout
big
out.
player of it as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he every year we have the same conversation. They'll announce their new features, and he'll go, like minor change, like it's nothing, it's minor. Like where's the big changes? But like we were saying, like they don't really need to, do they?
No, yeah. I mean, I'm just, asking myself this now. What would I
What would you do?
really want? Yeah, for what big change would I actually want
Yeah,
from a Football Manager game? It's pretty much the graphics or the gameplay that I just want like better, and they're literally doing that this
yeah,
game. And it's all just like little immersion tweaks each
yeah.
year just to make the game a little bit better.
And that leads into the fact that the game gets better each year. Like I think the next version is always the best version.
100%, 100%. Yeah,
Which,
absolutely.
I mean, you don't get that often. You
No.
do not get that often at all. You definitely don't get it with FIFA, with Madden, maybe even with PES, when they were still making that. And so that's just brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and I think a huge part of that is that they don't like pick features just for the fact that it's eye catching or whatever. They just look at the game and think, right, and they're not like unrealistic with their attempts as well, so that they never fall short because they know what they can do. They set it out. We're going to do this, this, and this. People might say, oh, it's not enough. I disagree. Um, but it's going to get done well.
Yeah,
Each feature is going to be implemented well and it's going to work. And yeah, it's going to be added to the game for the better.
and a lot of the features are based on a lot of feedback they get from professionals. Like real footballers, real managers, coaches, etc. They always speak about how they're just having really long conversations, really long sessions with them, and they're then implementing that feedback into the game.
Yeah, which is
Unlike
just
FIFA,
literally. Well, it just
who
shows the lengths that they're going to improve their game because they're not a big, they're not EA size, and they're
well,
still
no, I
like
mean, yeah, it's a subdivision of Sega for one, isn't it? So Sports
exactly, and
Interactive. So
they're still going to this effort to like reach out to these people and get their point of view, and they really do go the extra mile, and it shows in their games because you can see the love they all have for their product.
yeah, and we want to know, we want to hear from you guys. What is going to be your first save on Football Manager? Who's going to be your
Yes,
first team?
good
Let us
question.
know, as we say. Reach out to us. It's YouTube video. Email us, ashbros@gmail.com. That'll be ashbrospodcast@gmail.com. And Ashbros Podcast on Twitter as well. And I want to know, Ash, what is going to be your first save? Have you thought about it?
Oh, it's 90% of when FM comes out, 90% of the time, I pick Man U. Big English team. Usually got like a bit of building to do, but I don't know. This year, I feel like the squad themselves is pretty decent, apart from like the midfield maybe. But even on FM, I reckon Van der Beek could do a job there. So I'll have to rethink it, to be honest. Maybe Dortmund. Dortmund would be a good one. What
So,
about
I mean,
yeah?
you've gone coy on this. Are you going to tell them about your FM habits?
My FM
Or am I
habits.
going to have to say?
So
The cat's out of the bag.
mine and Brom's like play style in FM is just it's yin and yang, isn't it? Like I go for the big clubs. I want to make a big difference. I go for the big money, buy the big players, and I want a lot of success. The
Not
last
just the big
FM,
clubs. Which big club are you
I
always at? Every single
I
Football Manager that isn't Manchester United and isn't Dortmund.
I ended up at PSG by accident. 10 years in a save. This FM. Previously, I have just gone for the deadbeat PSG career and just the shameless buying the superstars. I must admit, yeah, absolutely. But I'm slowly growing as a person, you know, and going for the ever so slightly smaller clubs who still have a lot of money. I
Yeah.
like. Do you
You
know
mean
what?
Dortmund?
I love the feeling of like financial power and pulling power of the players. To be honest, that's the honest truth. Like, I love picking. To be fair, in all honesty, I could not pick a Man City now because you're just gonna just run it, and yeah, I wouldn't get any enjoyment out of that now. To be honest, I do like um definitely like big teams. I don't know if you've if you figured this out yet. Definitely like big teams. Definitely like a lot of money to play around with. You know, splashing the cash. Because I like to quickly make my imprint on the team. You know, I
Yeah.
like to get my players in. Which in real life, I mean, any manager would. Do you know what I mean? Any
Yeah, yeah,
manager
yeah.
would love it. Um, and I like having players of like a certain quality, you know, that I can play whatever style I like, and they're probably going to be able to do it, you know. But I do. You're going to have to force me to try and like, yeah, I really like, you know, I've thought of Solihull Moors taking over them, you
Oh,
know.
there we go.
There you go. I'll have to give that a go. This FM. I've I've made right. I'm going to make a promise on this podcast. All right. I am starting with Solihull Moors this FM coming. There you
Well, I
go.
mean, if we
I
did a
can't go back on that now.
if we did a joint save, maybe you'll be solid awards in them.
Maybe.
You never know. Um. So yeah, that's fun. Manchester United. You know, I'm shocked. I'm surprised.
Oh, sure you are, mate. Sure you are. No, I don't. To be fair, the squad of Man United doesn't, apart from getting Ronaldo back in the team, doesn't really. I don't really fancy it that much. Dortmund, I reckon, might be a good one.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I think Dortmund, or maybe
PSG.
try and get PSG, trying to get Juventus back to like actual quality.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the sound of Juve actually. Again, massive team, massive money, but it's a team that are underperforming at the moment. You know, it's huge
Well, yeah,
potential, but underperforming.
which makes it all the more appealing.
Yeah, to me anyway. So how about you? Come on, who are you going as first?
Yeah. So as you know, I'm the complete opposite of you. I
Yeah,
like to start at teams with not that don't have a pot to piss in, basically.
yeah.
Um, and I like to start all the way at the bottom and work my way up. And I also don't like to spend money in doing so, like you.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I like to sign freebies and players under, well, cheap,
Oh,
very cheap.
yeah.
Um,
You get visibly nauseous if you have to spend more than like 20 mil in
yeah,
it.
no, honestly, yeah, he's not lying, listeners. By the way, he's genuinely not lying.
Yeah.
I can count the number of times I've paid over 30 million for a player on one hand, and that is, I mean, I've been playing Football Manager for like nearly 15 years or whatever. That's it's shocking, really, when you think about it. I will not pay loads of money. I just won't. I will just find bargains, and that will be it.
No.
Um, and yeah, like I don't like starting as big teams. Very rarely. We sometimes do when we play online. It's a bit different because I know that it might not be as longer term of a save
Mm.
compared to an offline. So when we've done one, we're like who we done in the past. I think I've started one as we did one as Napoli, didn't we? And you was Man U.
I was Man U, shocking. Yeah.
So Napoli a
That
bit
was a
like
really good one.
Napoli were like obviously not one of the top teams. They were kind of like subpar, sub
Yeah.
top, I guess. But my plans this year is I'm actually going to do a series on the YouTube channel. And so I like to do kind of bigger clubs to
Mm.
obviously try and attract more people.
Mm.
So I've been having to think about this. I thought about AC Milan, but I have already kind of done a full series on them on FIFA, and I wanted to kind of lead that off. So, I think I might be going as Roma. Um,
Roma. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
I did also think of Lazio because the whole Sarismo tactics and
Yeah. Yeah.
stuff like that. But I think Roma might be more appealing to people. I think the
I was
Jose
thinking
factor will.
the league would probably be a bit dead, but Rangers maybe.
Yes. Again, though, I've done a Rangers one
Yeah,
series.
yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
that
That's
was on
true.
PES, and that was quite a few years ago. I'm quite like, you find a lot of YouTubers, they do the same teams. Like, there are some FIFA YouTubers who do the same team multiple times in the same
Yeah.
season, doing like Chelsea, like and Barcelona, like 2 and 3 and 4 times a season.
Yeah, I do think you're right, and you want to keep it fresh for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like to
you could go
stay off them
Celtic,
for
Brom.
quite a
How
while.
does that sound? Going Celtic,
What do you say? Go doing a Celtic one?
doing a Celtic. Yeah, you'd love it. You'd love a Celtic one, wouldn't
Yeah, sure, why not? Um, but oh, I've lost my train of thought now. Yeah, so I have actually done a Roma series on the channel, but it only lasted 6 episodes because it was on
mm,
PES, and I weren't getting any views because it
mm.
it, it was it was a year after PES had come out, and then they didn't do PES 22 because they were doing the new eFootball game.
Yeah, that great
Um,
game.
which is what, and then like so no one was viewing it, so I kind of just had to stop it because it wasn't, I couldn't justify it. So I feel like I can justify doing a Roma one more. So I think it's going to be Roma or Lazio, to be honest. I wanted to do Ajax, but I'm doing a live stream career mode with them
Of
now.
course, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so I've kind of balls that one up a little bit. So yeah, it's going to be one of them two for the series. That'll be my first
Mm.
save.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. Sounding good.
So yeah, that I think that probably rounds it off. Is there anything else you want
Yeah,
to
I mean,
mention?
I don't know if you wanted to just like cover the features a little bit. I've got the page up here.
Yep,
So the first one is power your transfer plans. So there's a squad planning tool,
yep,
which looks quite good, always handy. It's just like a quality of life, sort of more visual way of like looking at positions and
yep.
picking out where your weak spots. Smarter AI opponents, which is obviously just improving the AI and the match engine sort of things, which is always welcome. I said before, if there's one thing I could improve about FM, it would probably just be that, making it look more realistic. Eventually, it would just be like watching a real football game, won't it, with like real people, like
Yeah,
in goodness knows how many years time. Experience big European nights. They got like a new skin, which just makes it more again immersive. Um, just little, all these are just little additions that just enhance the experience, don't they?
obviously the UEFA competitions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Um, earn the fans' respect. So they've split the fans into different groups, like your Zulus and your families and stuff. And it shows like their thoughts on you and their opinions, which I really like. Again, I like.
Yeah, big change. Yeah, I like that one.
I love that one. Yeah, 100%. Just seeing who you're pissing off on who your players, and it's always nice to see. And the final one, which I'm going to really like, because I'm a bit of in the previous. So the last one is Chronicle Your Career, which is would have been great for my last one that I've just did, because I've been trying to win the top division title in all the major like 5 leagues,
Yeah,
and I think that would have been a really good like representation of everything. But also, if you start from Solihull Moors and end up taking them to win the Champions League and the Premier League, then I feel like that will be a pretty good way of viewing that as well.
yeah, definitely.
So yeah, all of those just little things that are just really nice additions, really welcome.
Yeah,
So yeah,
and yeah, it looks like the
very
match
pleasing.
engine will be better with any luck. It's always an
Yeah,
improvement.
yeah,
They try to push out that they want you to be, because most people who are successful on the game, it's because they're playing these like ultra attacking gig and pressing systems,
mm,
and they seem to push out that they want you to be able to have success playing a more pragmatic style.
yeah,
So that's hopefully that works out. That turns out to
yeah.
be
Hopefully,
true, because that would be really big,
absolutely, yeah,
especially if I'm going
yeah,
with Roma and I want to be Jose.
yeah. Parking the bus after 2 minutes. Yeah,
Precisely, yeah, precisely.
yeah. Sounds good.
Time wasting
Always.
excessively, yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah.
Right. So, I think that rounds it off for FM, doesn't it?
I think so. Yeah, I think we've done a good coverage of that.
Yeah, yeah. Next, what we wanted to talk about is in episode 1, we spoke about our top 5 favourite games of all time, and a couple of you reached out to us and gave us your lists. Do you want me? Have you got them up, or do you want me to go through them?
Go on, you can do the honours, mate. Sure.
Okay. Okay, so a fellow nerd who is a regular viewer of the channel, he go and with his top 5, he had Devil May Cry 3 as number 5, Ratchet and Clank: A Crack in Time number 4, number 3 was Uncharted 3, number 2
Super
Batman
game.
Arkham City,
Yes.
and number 1 Final Fantasy 12. So
Yeah.
a really varied
Okay.
list.
Yeah. So the thing with Final Fantasy is, I think in my previous experience, I've had a lot of friends who are big Final Fantasy fans. I feel like you're either born into the family of World of Warcraft MMO or you're born into the family of Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who plays both and likes both. But yeah. And personally, it's never been my art style, but I can definitely appreciate that it's just a phenomenal game.
Yeah.
Looks super fun, and it's got a huge amount of lore behind it. I know that. So yeah, definitely, and a couple of other good shouts as well. Uncharted, one of my favorite games. Batman. Which Batman was it?
Arkham City,
Arkham
which
City.
is the second one, I think.
Second one. Yeah, my cousin's always nagging at me to play the Batman games. He's a massive fan. But similar to what I said about God of War, it's kind of, I'm questioning, is that game enough for me?
So
Like,
I've actually played it.
yeah,
I've played the first one and the second one, so there's 4 overall.
yeah.
And I played Arkham Asylum, which was number 1, and Arkham City, which was number 2.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely see the appeal of them. I was enjoying them. The problem was that it was very much a case of just a beat 'em up, really. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah, exactly. And
Like every mission involved you going somewhere, and there's a group of enemies, and you've got to just knock them all out,
yeah,
and then you achieve your objective. Like there's no interaction. There's not much variation in the missions. And that was kind of issue. So whilst I was enjoying it, it kind of got a little bit repetitive, and that's why I didn't end up playing 3 and 4.
yeah. I mean,
Now what?
and that's what I'd be worried about playing games like that, because that's what they specialize in. That's, the combat and how it feels. And I'm sure the first couple of fights I'd be loving it.
Yeah,
But I would just be looking at, because I'm an MMO player, I'd be looking at the long term objective of, how much am I progressing? What's like the next step?
yeah.
And the great gameplay just isn't enough to keep me playing and keep me coming back. And I'm sure I'd love it, but I just don't think it's like, enough for me really.
And I mean, I know in the 4th one, which was the final one of that series, they are moving on to Gotham Knights, which is out next month.
Hmm.
In the 4th one, they introduced the Batmobile, so they added kind of the variation of traveling. So I don't know whether the mission, the overall gameplay changed along with that. They added more variation in missions and things along those lines. So I'd have to have a look really. But yeah, definitely, I can definitely see where he's coming from.
Mm,
Uncharted, I mean, yeah, we've
brilliant game.
both played it. I've not played 3 or 4. He also said he didn't play 4. So, and that a lot of people say that's the real kind of the big one, really.
Oh, okay, yeah. I don't think
At
I've
least
played it.
visually.
Mm.
So yeah, but a fun list. You know what I mean? And very different to ours.
Yeah, very different, yeah. But all great games, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. We also had Still Funky B, another regular on the channel. Now, I want to know whether he was being serious or not here, and you'll see why.
I'm crying.
Because he said it started off okay, but he said Warzone, Parasite Eve, High Heat Baseball, Madden, FIFA in that order. And now
Right.
I want to know whether, no problem if Man and FIFA are in there, no problem at all. I just want to know whether he was having a laugh or if he was being serious.
It's a tricky one to gauge, isn't it? Yeah.
And if so, I'd like to know which FIFA and which Madden, because
Yes.
obviously, as we've spoken about already in this episode, the latest one isn't necessarily the best one.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah,
High Heat
Warzone. You played much
Baseball.
Warzone?
Yeah, but yeah, it's good fun. I mean, shooters aren't really my thing.
Yeah.
But I can definitely see how it's enjoyable. I have played some quite a few sort of battle royales and stuff. Um, it's I think that it's the best at what it does at the moment,
Yep.
probably. Parasite Eve and High Heat Baseball I've never heard of. Have you?
No, me neither. Me neither.
I'll have to have a look at those. They
Yeah,
sound
I was
interesting.
meant to search them up.
No, we'll have to have a look at those.
Yeah, we will
But
have a look into them.
yeah, Warzone, good choice. Madden and FIFA, yeah, can't argue with those.
And we also had Adam, who he didn't give his top 5 list, but he did say that Witcher 3 was also his favourite, as it was mine. And he just basically echoed what I wish I'd said, just, kind of things about the combat and stuff, how it's better than the likes of Skyrim and kind of using the signs and things like that. He said, like, still the best game of all time for me. Nothing comes close. And that's literally how I feel about it. It really is. I also wish we kind of mentioned it last week in our most anticipated games episode, where we could have spoke about the next gen upgrade.
Yes.
But never mind.
Never mind.
So, before we round off this episode, we want to finish off with another segment of What Have We Been Playing? So, I'll pass it over to you, mate. Do you wanna talk?
Yeah, sure. So I think we've been playing a game together quite a bit. So I
We
think we'll touch
certainly
on
have.
that in a bit. But the game I've sort of bought and played solo is Mortal Kombat 11, the newest game of the Mortal Kombat series. And Mortal Kombat as a game is a classic, right? The ultimate fighter game. And I have really been enjoying it, not gonna lie. Really fun. Some of the combos you can do, it's just doing something for me. It's so good. And the story is actually like intriguing, and it made me look on YouTube and learn about the lore of the Mortal Kombat universe, which not a lot of games do. I'm probably games like that. I'm just happy with the combat, skip past the cutscenes. I don't know what it was about it. It just seemed to do it really well. I mean, there are some cheesy like lines and stuff, and but the characters are super interesting. I always want to learn more about them, and yeah, the gameplay is brilliant, and the graphics are super as well. So really sort of pleased I bought it, and it's just something there if I'm looking for something a little bit different,
Yeah.
cheeky fighter, you can't go wrong. That's the main game I've been playing recently.
And probably an upgrade graphically on the one that we used to play on your PS3
Just a
a long
little
time
bit,
ago.
yeah. Just a little bit. Yeah, but
Finish him.
finish him. I mean that line is just classic, isn't it?
Well,
Oh,
yeah. I mean, it's what's I don't know what the phrase is now. What the word I'm looking for is. It's just kind of stitched into all our minds, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like everyone
100%.
knows it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's one of those like staple games or whatever. Is that the right
Yeah.
word? Yeah, you think fighter games, you think of Tekken and Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, really.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Definitely.
So yeah, absolutely brilliant game. Really enjoying that. So what about you, mate?
I have been playing Rome Total War Remastered.
Banger.
Really, really enjoying it. Really enjoying it. It's not the first time I've played it. I've played as you have. I mean, we spoke about it in episode 1, didn't we? We've played many Total War games throughout the years. Now, funnily enough, I've sunk hours and hours into, a range of Total War games over the years. and yet I've never ever completed a campaign,
Mm.
which is crazy. Really, really weird. I don't know why that is. This campaign that I'm doing now on Rome Total War Remastered is the furthest I've ever got into any campaign. So yeah, really enjoying it. Lots of, if anyone's played the original but not played the new one, lots of quality of life and updates and changes that just make it much better than the original.
Yeah.
And yeah, just really, really fun. I think it's Rome Total War is probably the kind of quintessential one for the Total War series. I think it's the one that's kind of known the most.
I think so, yeah.
I think you probably think of that one first. I know you probably wouldn't. With Total War Warhammer.
Yeah,
But
yeah, but that's just from personal,
yeah. But
experience.
generally, I think just people when they think of Total War, they will think of Rome Total War.
I agree. Yeah.
Um,
Have you
yeah. So
played? I just wanted to ask you. Have you played Rome 2 Total War?
yes,
Okay,
yes.
so what do you prefer, and what do you not like as much comparing Remastered and Rome 2?
Partly the UI, stuff like organizing armies and generally kind of the interface as a whole, a little bit more confusing, a little bit more daunting on two,
Mm,
in my opinion. One, I just kind of know better. Um, in addition to that, you've also got the likes of like the zones and stuff. I'm trying to think what it was like now, but it was much different in Rome Total War 2. In number one, you obviously have the three different Roman factions.
mm.
In number two, it was different, and annoyingly, I can't remember now. It's been a little bit of time since I played it. So I remember that kind of being a thing for me as well. So yeah, little things like that really. That kind of made me want to go back to number one. The only thing that number two does have on it is that in part of the DLC, it has the ancient Greek regions and cities, so like Sparta,
Oh
Athens,
wow, yeah,
etc.,
cool.
which is something that I'd really like to get into. I'd really like to play. So I might have to go on number two at some point down the line and
Mm.
try that one out because you can't get that one. But yeah, it's fun. It's enjoyable.
Yeah, good stuff, mate. Good stuff. So, do you want to talk about this game that been playing together? Quite a lot, honestly.
Yeah, we sunk a bit of time into this, haven't we?
Just a bit, yeah.
Over the last like 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
Um, really, when I've managed to get spare time, I've just been on this a lot of the time.
Yeah, yeah.
And that is it's World of Warcraft, isn't it?
World of Warcraft.
Yeah,
It is, mate. It
we're
is.
sinking time into it.
Yeah, so we're getting into the sort of end game stuff now, aren't we? So you've got your hunter, and I've got my warlock, and we're sort of because they've increased the item level of all there's like gear level inflation, right? So we're sort of trying to I guess get geared up for the expansion that's coming out next month, right?
Yeah, well, that's what we're doing, isn't it? That's really what
Yeah.
we're preparing for that, isn't it? So like,
But also you've missed like this you missed out on the story really, didn't you, as well,
yeah.
from Shadowlands.
Yeah.
What's been your impression of it so far?
Oh, terrible. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, again, we spoke about this in episode 1, didn't we? The
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah.
Like story writing wise is bad at this present moment in time. But
Yeah.
I still want to experience it just to see it. Just see it all unfold. I still don't know what happens a lot because I've stayed away from spoilers. So
Neither
I'd
do I,
like
to be
to
honest.
at least see.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, as you say, we've spoken before about, feeling weird about being in the afterlife, and all the mobs are just, your typical skeletons that you fight just on normal,
Yeah.
in the normal world. So, but but no, I have really been enjoying, just going through the dungeons with you, and
Well, yeah,
just
that's a
doing
bit.
the usual.
The experience is completely different when you're playing with a pal, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah,
It just
100%.
complete because things become less of a grind. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it all changes, isn't it? Yeah,
yeah,
100%.
yeah. The whole thing changes. It definitely just improves the experience, no end.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is why they're really trying to push out the social side of it as much as possible.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so we've got pre-patch later this month.
Yep.
Exciting times. That'll be good.
Yep.
I'm sure we'll find somewhere to talk about that.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. I'm sure we'll find a section of a podcast.
Absolutely, sounds
at
good.
some point. I mean, by the time this episode comes out, it will be that week that it's released. In fact, by the time this episode will be released on 24th or 25th of October, isn't it? Comes out on the 25th.
Yeah, it literally comes out on the 25th. Yeah.
So there you go. If you're listening to this, you could probably go and play it.
Wow.
I'd be curious to know how many of my subs play World of Warcraft, because I dare say the number would be quite low.
Yeah, I'd agree. But if you play World of Warcraft, please get in touch. I'm super interested to see if anyone plays it.
Yes, please do. Yeah. Please do.
Because yeah, I mean it's big in our lives, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely at the moment as well.
Yeah. And if you fancy giving an MMO a go, MMORPG, you know they're giving extra XP to everyone, so now is the time to do that.
Or go and download New World.
This episode is sponsored by World of Warcraft.
Oh, don't say that. We'll get taken down.
Oh, no. Wait, could you cut that?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's fine. It's calm. It's calm. Seamless.
I'll probably leave it in now.
Yeah, that's calm.
Right, so.
Love it. Right.
I think that's it. Anything else you want to kind of add? Want to talk about?
I think I just wanted to thank everyone for watching, to be honest, mate. I've had a lot of fun, as always.
Yeah, we're really enjoying this. Really getting to the swing of it. We know it's going to be a slow build-up, you know, for the first maybe like few months or something, you know. We just hope we can keep building it and more people will come in and listen. And that'll be progress, won't it?
Absolutely.
So, before we end, just want to let you know that you can catch us on any of your regular podcasting apps. That's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. What else is there? Listen Index. There's tons. You can find them all on our website, which is ashbrospodcast.com. Yes, we do have a website now. And alternatively, you can watch the video version on my YouTube channel, Brommer18. Or don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, AshBros Podcast. We'll be not only uploading clips from podcasts, but we'll also, as we spoke about earlier, be looking to do a series on Football Manager, an online network save. So that will be really fun. We will get on that at some point. I'll wait till it probably quietens down on my YouTube channel first, because a lot of content going. But we will probably get on that. So keep an eye out for that. Also follow us on Twitter, AshBros Podcast. That is at AshBros Podcast. Or drop us an email if you'd prefer, ashbrospodcast@gmail.com. And before we do end, I'm going to throw it over to you, Ash, for any final words.
Yeah, just honestly, just thank you again. just thank you again for watching. Honestly, as you've said, just we love doing this. And yeah, give us. Remember you've got a lot of jobs. You know, leaving likes, comments, ratings,
reviews,
all of it. All right, you got your work cut out for you. So please do that.
Got to get in a habit of saying ratings and reviews.
Yes, absolutely. Ratings and reviews, guys. Come on.
Yes. So yeah, thank you ever so much. If you made it through to the end, you're a special one. I'll tell you that you are special. In a good way, obviously. So we're going to round off there. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure to tune in to episode 4. I don't know what that will be. We'll be talking about, but we'll be talking about something. So tune in when we do return. And until next time, we will see you soon.
Goodbye.